It's a great software in that the class will be conducted through this. So it's basically the class will be done through this medium. It's the Zoom conference platform. A lot of universities are using them, particularly even Ivy League universities who are teaching online are using this platform because it's so interactive and so easy to use. Multiple professors from different parts of the world could be online teaching a class while all the students are there taking notes. It's really phenomenal, and so we will be using this platform. I did a lot of research and found that this one was currently the best one to use. The emotional intelligence class is a 12 weeks, it's 4 months, it's once a week, and it's 2 hours per week, okay, for the class. So it means that we're meeting on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we finish at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. The way I conduct the class is that I start first by doing a meditation, and I end with a meditation. I start by tuning everybody in to their own inner consciousness and to the guidance of spirit. And then we go in and cover the topics at hand. We study because there's going to be reading assignments, and then there are going to be items that we're going to cover in class together. And then once this is done, do you
Pierre, you have an echo.
Yes.
Pierre, you have an echo.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Can you all mute yourself? Can you all mute yourself so that the call will be better? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Perfect. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing is that for those of you on the phone, just press *6 and you'll be muted. So the one thing that we're going to be doing is that, as I said, it's 2 hour sessions. It's 24 hours in total that we're going to be studying over the course of 3 months, okay? There needs to be time for you to assimilate, to process, to understand emotionally and resolve things for yourself as we go through the topics of following through with emotional intelligence. So bottom line is that we will start on October 21st, and we will end probably the second week in January. Originally, the class was supposed to last until January 6th, but because over the Christmas holiday, Christmas to New Year holiday, everybody's visiting their family. And I will decide that with the group, but I suspect that everyone will be joining their family in vacation. We will not meet for that week, which would have been Wednesday, December 30th. So the class will actually end in January 13th, okay? That logistic can be covered later. But I just want to be very clear about the time frame so that we understand in terms of commitment of time if you want to join the class so that you know exactly what to expect. Additionally, I wanted also to describe some of the other logistics of the class. We have 2 books that we're going to be using. One is Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and the other one is Social Intelligence by, the 2 books are here. Give me a minute. Emotional Intelligence 2.0, you're seeing it in reverse because of the camera, which is by Travis Bradbury and Jean Gravies. And the other one is by Daniel Goleman, Social Intelligence, who is really a Ivy League scholar who pioneered the work of social intelligence. Now, Daniel Goleman is an erudite. His book is kind of dense, a little bit, because he's writing this to convince his colleague of the value of social intelligence. Whereas Emotional Intelligence 2.0, which we will start with, is very easy to read. It's also a book that's on how to, very simple, very direct, easy read. Instructions are very clear. Now, when you start the class, the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 will also give you a link for an online platform where you can actually measure through a test what level of emotional intelligence that you're at currently. Now, when the class is over, you can go back and measure to see how far you have progressed. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because unlike IQ that you were born with, okay, and it's set, your emotional intelligence can grow. And this is the point of this class, is to teach emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? Because we all feel to a degree or not. Some people are more repressed and suppressed than others, while others are better at getting in touch with their feelings. But that doesn't mean just because you feel more that you actually are more emotionally intelligent. I will explain. There are individuals, and a lot of them are my students, who are empath. They feel everything. They walk into a room, all of the emotion of the room, they can feel it. They are highly socially intelligent. They pick up things very easily, but they cannot manage what they're picking up. They're overwhelmed. A lot of them are recluse. They don't want to go out into the public because they don't want to feel everything they're feeling because they are picking up everyone else's emotion. Okay? So, because some people think that, well, I feel everything and that's supposed to make me better. No. The fact that you're feeling is better than it's one step better than if you were repressing your feelings. But what you really should be concerned about is that and understand is that emotional intelligence is actually the management of emotion. In other words, you have to figure out a way how to process your emotion. Because a lot of times, what we feel, be it positive or negative emotion, is perceived, but it is not actual. And that's the problem. What is our emotion? Well, your emotion is really a projection, a filter that the neurochemical in your brain, it's your brain that actually produces it, creates a filter that changes the cellular structure of your body. And when it changes it, it causes a projection, a hologram. It causes you to feel a certain way. Whether it is that you're feeling victimized, or you're feeling fearful, or you're feeling, I have to defend myself, or you're feeling happy, joyful, or you're feeling indifferent. All of these feelings are different chemical, different hormone that are secreted by the amygdala in your brain, and that releases in a nanosecond in your entire body, changing your cellular structure and your vibration. Literally, the cell starts to be agitated in a very specific frequency, and that frequency creates a feeling. And when you have that feeling, even if God was standing in front of you, no one can tell you any different than what you're feeling. You are totally convinced that it is true. Okay? And it's important for us to understand this because I'm going to use a very simple example. Think of a child, for example. The child gets up in the middle of the night, starts screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." There's a man behind the door. Okay, there's a boogeyman. The mother comes into the room, turns on the light. "Honey, there's nobody here." The child cannot be convinced, because I was a child too, and this happened to me. No one could tell me that there was not somebody in the room. Okay? So the emotional intelligence is about learning. There is a whole series of processes that you can go through where you can begin to examine yourself and understand and try to figure out whether what you're feeling is actually actual or whether it is the opposite. It is a projection. And most of the time, one of the key questions that you need to do when you're learning how to become emotionally intelligent is that you have to query yourself. You have to ask yourself this question, and this question will come back over and over again. And it has to do with you qualifying the emotion that you're feeling. It's one thing to feel, but it's another thing to try to qualify the emotion by saying to yourself, what am I feeling? Is it legitimate or is it illegitimate? We will use that term often in the class. In other words, did I feel this before in the past? And if I did feel it before in the past, I am probably looping. What I mean by looping, the issue where that first event of the feeling occurred has not been resolved. And your mind is bringing it forward to try to help you resolve it. So what you really need to do is not address the situation that's in front of you, but is to deal with the past item. Solve the past item and the hologram in front of you will disappear. The feeling will evaporate. Okay? So we will be examining in details the mechanics on how we feel. We will study, we will talk about our brain, the limbic system, as opposed to the frontal lobe and the linear thinking and the relationship between the two. We will be discussing in detail different types of feelings that we have and how to socially and how to actually manage these emotions. Now, additionally, one of the tools that I'm going to be using, a side presentation like I'm doing now, talking about the science and the mechanics of actually perceiving, feeling emotions, and so on and so forth. Since I'm teaching a class on emotional intelligence, I can't talk intellectually about it. So a lot of the class teaching will have to do with us watching very specific videos that I will be showing you on this platform to elicit emotion from you. And once you have these, once we watch the videos, I will be querying you as to what emotional state you're in right now. And the class will participate. All of us will talk about our feelings. And then we will be able, you see, there is a very important dynamics that happen. This is a great opportunity because on your own, you can try to learn this. But when you have a group, it creates an incredible dynamics because a lot of time, the feeling that you have are so complex, you're not feeling one thing. You're feeling multiple, sometimes 3 to 4 things, okay? And when you talk only about one and the other 2 or 3 are suppressed and somebody else express it and you're like, I was feeling this too. I just couldn't figure out a way to express it. Because a lot of times we may have an intellectual understanding, a vocabulary, a dictionary definition for a very specific feeling. And we may never have experienced the feeling viscerally in our body. And therefore, we don't know how to match the two. Emotional intelligence is about learning how to viscerally feel emotion. All emotions, all good or bad emotion, doesn't matter. We have to feel it. We have to, fully embody the feelings inside of us. And once we have the emotions, once we begin to feel it completely, we can begin to query, engage the frontal lobe and query and try to figure out, is this something that I'm looping? Is it something that's real now, in the now, and therefore something that's legitimate that I need to deal with? Or is it something that's in my past? Am I looping a memory? Am I remembering something and it's echoing in the present? So we will spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's backwards and what's forward, what's in the present. And then we will then move forward to try to figure out where we are. And because of the group dynamics, it allows all of us to be, because some of the people are more sensitive than others. Some of the people will begin to make you begin to feel and think differently that you were not thinking about before. Some of the people will begin to give you information about things that you didn't have access to. The more people that are in the call, it really is a blessing. I've done this class before, and everybody in the group benefited when we begin to actually allow ourselves to co-create by having everyone present share their feelings with the group. Okay. The second thing, the other thing I wanted to also explain about the class is that we will, a couple of items I want to explain to you that I've taught the class before and at a center in Long Island. And I remember the first time I taught the class, I think it was by the fourth class. I told the director of the center, she was picking up because I live in Manhattan and I have to travel by train. I have a schedule. I arrive at a time and I exit at a certain time. And I was exiting too early because everyone was in an emotional state that was unresolved. And I felt, as an emotionally intelligent person, man, I felt guilty as hell. I was going to the train feeling like I'm the worst teacher in the world. I'm leaving these people completely raw. They're on the floor going, oh my God, I'm wrecked, and I couldn't handle it. The guilt was killing me. And I said to the director of the center, I said, listen, tonight I'm taking the later train. I said, it's on me. I don't want, if it's okay with the student for them to stay later, I want to resolve everything before I close the class, because it makes no sense. I'm feeling horrible. And which is what we did for the rest of the class. Now, interestingly enough, as a side bit because of this, when the class was over, because I teach in that center, I teach by topic. Like I teach a class on the chakras, and that's 7 weeks. I teach a class on emotional intelligence, that's 12 weeks. And before the class ended, I was trying to figure out what the next series was going to be. So I proposed certain topics. And everyone in the class said, no, 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 no. We want another round, another 12 weeks of the emotional intelligence. Because we feel we only scratched the surface. We want more. We feel better in our relationship already because it has helped us so much. We want more. We want to explore more feelings. So it enriched people already. Before I go into a quick outline of the class and what's going to be included and not included, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. People who are emotionally intelligent actually make more money and are more prominent in all social circles of life than people who have high IQs. Why? Because people who are emotionally intelligent can walk into a room and read a room and know what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. They are more skilled because they have social intelligence of communicating and of connecting with people. Therefore, they are in higher position in all levels. And this is, you will see it in both books. It's been documented, studied. Just because you have a high IQ does not guarantee that you're going to be, have a higher stature in life, or for that matter, make more money if that's of interest to you. For me, what I think is the greatest thing is that when you're emotionally intelligent, all of your relationships are better. And I mean relationship with your family members, relationship with your coworkers, relationship with everyone else is better because you can feel very easily, because the amygdala in our brain is very chatty. It communicates all the time. Silent, subtle signs are being released and broadcast all the time. You can walk into a room and you can pick it up if you're emotionally intelligent enough. And so the individual who can do this have an incredible advantage in terms of the interpersonal relationship. Imagine if you have a partner that can pick up on your feelings. You ladies understand this. Most men that you're with cannot distinguish anything. You have to smack them across the head. Imagine yourself having a man that's emotionally intelligent in your life that can actually pick up when you're not feeling well. What's the matter, honey? Are you okay? And that can actually pick up the moment you walk in the door that something is wrong. This is invaluable skill. It improves your interpersonal relationship in all aspects. That in itself has no cost to it. If you can achieve this in 3 months, this is a skill that you will take to your grave and beyond. Okay? And it will actually help you improve in all aspects of your life. So I highly suggest you know, and I know that this, and moreover, because of the test before and the test at the end, you can actually prove it to yourself, the improvements, okay? So you can scientifically document that I was at this level and here I am now at that level. Therefore, I have achieved, I have moved forward. And the proof is in the pudding. You relate better to yourself. You relate better to the people around you. For those of us who are feel very strongly, because one of the things we discussed in class is that in the last time I did this, when a lot of us who are emotionally intelligent, let's say for a moment you're feeling like you're a victim, okay? You feel completely disempowered, and you are crushed, you're devastated, you feel bad and all that and so on and so forth. The feeling is lingering and continued, and you can snap out of it. At that moment, you're trying, and a lot of people who are emotionally, who feel very, who can pick up on their emotion very easily. A lot of time, these people are trying to, they keep trying all the time to feel the opposite emotion. When you're in that state, okay, where you're actually completely being bombarded by hormones that are changing your cellular structure, trying to feel the opposite emotion is a recipe for disaster. Because even if you're successful, first of all, it's very hard to do, because you can't even remember what it feels like to be empowered or to be joyful. You can't remember because your body is being bombarded by one thing ad infinitum. Every cell in your body is changed. Okay, frequencies change, vibration is changed. So the other thing that
you are using the computer audio. Chill.
Shala, we can hear you. You're on speaker, okay?
Control?
Yeah. Function.
Function?
Shala, put yourself on mute. We can hear you, okay? Put yourself on mute.
No.
Yes, lower right side, just put yourself on mute. Okay, click on the mute.
The mixer's on. Shower. Recording. Ay.
Mute. There's a little icon of a speaker. It says mute. Just go click on mute.
I don't know.
Either on the upper right side, you're on your iPad. Okay, I think it worked. All right, I'll continue. So to try to
Know how to get the sound on.
I'm hearing Easton in the background. You have to mute yourself.
No.
It's either on the upper right side or it should be on the lower left hand side. Next to video, there should be a little thing that says mute. You see it?
There's a sound thing.
Click on the sound.
Wait, next to the mute button. You see it? That
Perfect. It worked. Thank you. All right, everyone. So what happened is that if you try to bring both emotion into your body at the same time, if you're successful, sometimes you're back on again, Shala. You did it before. You're back on. If you're successful at achieving both, what happened is that you feel like you're schizophrenic for a couple of days because you're feeling both emotions simultaneously. One moment you're feeling disempowered, the next moment you're feeling empowered. One moment you're feeling victim, the next moment you're feeling I'm in charge. It's like your emotion go through this ping pong match and this yo-yo. You're going back and forth. It's exhausting and it's draining. Okay. So the thing that I'm suggesting is that through the process that I'm going to be teaching you, you won't have that issue. You will be able to deal with the emotion at hand. Deal with it,
yeah, I use the link on Facebook that it says to just log onto that. When you first come in, don't go out. I already did all that.
Shala, we're hearing, everyone is hearing.
Phone, what is that?
Shala, everyone is hearing your complete conversation. Everyone on the video.
So.
Okay, just make it back. I don't know what's wrong. Click on that.
She can't
now.
hear you, Pierre. That's what the problem is. She can't hear you.
Shella, can you hear us? Shella?
I don't have the phone number on me. I don't know.
You said it's on Facebook?
Yeah, I have the link on Facebook. That's why I went and log on. You want me to log out and do it again? Yeah, let me look. I'm gonna leave the meeting and then log out.
I apologize for this. This is the hiccup of just learning that the software for the first time. Anyway, what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna go and share with you a page from the website where I describe. Can you all see the screen? I'm going to scroll down to show you. This is the description of on my website of the event, of the series. And I want to go over the 7 sessions and talk about each of the items that we are going to be covering. The first session, we're going to talk about understanding the human biology and the provenance of emotion from the limbic system to the release of hormone. And we covered very briefly how the cellular structure is changed. We will identify feeling and try to legitimize our perception of pain and suffering. That first session is important because it has.
How do I get back to the?
It explains all of the mechanics of our feelings and of our emotion. It allows us to understand what our body is doing. When we are feeling and we have emotions, what exactly is happening to our body? How are we perceiving or not perceiving? So that part is very important for us to understand. Session 2, we will learn about the desire to give and the desire to receive. You see, the universe was created with 2 basic impulses, which is a general desire to give and a general desire to receive. Now, throughout our life, we go into that state, a receiving state and a giving state, to and fro all the time. And each one of them have very specific, powerful emotion because they are the core state. One is receptive, the other one is active, if you want to see it this way. And each one of them give us the opportunity to actually feel in a very different way. And we will explore us being in a receptive state or receiving state, or in a giving state or active state. And what does that mean to us? And what does it mean also to give in a balanced manner? Because there are corruption that can happen with giving. If you are giving from a standpoint of trying to dismiss people, or because you are trying to control them, it's a passive-aggressive move. If you are receiving or you are manipulating how you receive, you're soliciting and you're trying to string people along, there are all kinds of corruption that can happen with giving and receiving. We're going to go through this and we're going to talk in the end on how to give and receive in a balanced manner so that we can align ourselves to natural spiritual laws. Session 3 is about fear. Fear is the result of the perception that the outside has a negative intention toward us. And this is important because if a bus was coming down the street and you were basically in the way, the bus, let's say, jumped the sidewalk and tried to come toward you, your flight and fight hormone, which is in your adrenal, would release and change your cellular structure. Once your amygdala perceives this, it triggers the adrenal. The adrenal releases the cellular. This happened in nanoseconds. All of a sudden, blood rushes into your arms and your legs. You're stronger, you're more powerful, you're more agile. You run, you jump, to save your life. Okay? Now, the flight and fight hormone can be released multiple ways. For example, one of the victims of the recent shooting that happened in Oregon saved herself by playing dead. Sometimes it's just playing dead is enough for you to save your life. Whatever it is that you have to do to survive, your flight and flight hormone will tell you what to do. Okay? So all of that is positive. But for those of us who live in very busy urban environment, places like New York City, Boston, Chicago, Bogota, We are actually, most of the time that we perceive fear, the fear is perceived, it's not real. And yet the amygdala and the adrenal gland do not understand this. They still release the hormone, causing us to exist in a state of constant agitation and stress. Okay? Therefore, ultimately leading to kidney failure and adrenaline fatigue. So we have to be very careful that when we are managing our emotion, whatever fear that we perceive, it's 90% of the fear that we perceive, it's not real. It's just it's a perception. It's a projection. It's a holographic thing. So we have to understand how to manage this so that we can reduce stress out of our life and we can shut down. Because ultimately, like I have noticed over the past 2 weeks that when I'm sleeping in my apartment in New York City, that I'm not sleeping well. Okay? I wake up in the morning. I even posted this on Facebook. I wake up in the morning, I feel like I didn't sleep at all. And I went to a period of 3 days where this was going on. And again, my body is perceiving a threat for some reason that is not real. But it's like a vibration or a fear energy in the ether that it's beginning to pick up. Okay? And because I'm perceiving this, it's scanning for danger, danger, danger. Watch out. You got to get up and run. But physically, there's nothing wrong. So we will talk about this in great detail and the solution set on how to shut down this perception and give us into a state of peace and serenity. Session 4, it will be when we feel emotion that troubles us, we tend to judge and repress them. Or worse, we distract ourselves by medicating ourselves by drinking, smoking, or doing all kind of other substance or activities for that matter. It could be playing ball or sex or whatever it is. Emotional intelligence is in the management of emotional intelligence. And we're going to talk about all of the things that we can do to make sure that we are really connected. One of the things you will hear me say over and over in the class is, where are you feeling this emotion in your body right now? Okay? This is important because a lot of time, you know, we distract ourselves. So whatever it is that you're feeling, you have to ask yourself, where am I feeling it? Where in my body do I sense this right now? Okay? Session 5, we're going to talk about love as a positive force that creates merger and blending. But before we can love the outside, the most important thing for us to love is self. In this class, we will go at length and in detail to address self-love through body image. Okay? We will be looking at videos that express how individuals in this culture, in our culture today, see themselves. I can recount to you that many years ago when I was in undergraduate school, I went to an art school program. I had to do a self-portrait. It was the most difficult assignment I've ever had in my entire life. I think I did this 8 times. Every time I was doing it, from the first time until the 7th time, I was drawing somebody else. I was not drawing me. And the teacher kept on saying to me, but Pierre, whose eyes are this? Whose nose is that? I couldn't see I saw myself in the mirror, but I couldn't draw it because my mind was trying to perceive someone else because of the body image that I was holding. That was incorrect and unhealthy. Lacking love, lacking compassion for myself. Okay? So that's not my personal experience with that. It was painful. It was excruciatingly difficult. I began to question myself. I don't understand. I can't draw anybody else. I can't sketch anybody else. Why can't I draw me? What's wrong with me? So we will explore that. And by the way, women have talked about body image for years now, but for men, this is under the carpet. Nowhere anyone substantially is talking about how men feel about their own body and their own body image. So I'll show you some videos and we will talk in a little bit more detail about this. Once we have done address the self-love thing in section 6, we will talk about love as a degree of giving to others, and how you should love others and what's the right way to give. Because if you're giving from a place of being empty, you're bankrupt. And this, I will recount personal experiences I had. I had a friend that I was with that I knew many years ago when I was 19, 20, and I knew her for 12 years, and she was the most giving person. I thought she was a saint. She was so wonderful. It turns out that many years later, 20 years later, when she finally reached out to me, she had attempted to commit suicide. There were all these complications. And what happened to her is that when she finally confessed to me, she was in a mental institution. When she called me, she was finally confessing to me. She said, Pierre, I was giving because I was empty. I felt like crap, like garbage. That's why I was giving to everyone. Because I felt that's the only way I can, the crumbs of everybody saying thank you to me was the only way I could survive. It shocked me. I knew her for 12 years. It shocked me beyond measure because I did not see this one coming. So we have to be very careful about when we're giving, from what point are we giving, when we're trying to share our love with others. It's the most powerful, love and sharing is the most powerful act of blending that you can do. But we need to understand what is conditional love as opposed to unconditional love. Understanding attachment versus preference. And we will get into the details of that. Section 7, when you feel positive emotion, it uplifts you, it makes you feel good. But there are many higher emotions that we feel where we have a vocabulary definition of what the dictionary says, but we don't have a visceral connection to. Take a word like empathy. Okay? Do you viscerally know what empathy feels like in your body? Where do you feel it? And what does it feel? What kind of sensation it creates in your body when you're saying, I'm empathetic to this person or that person? Okay? Or for that matter, detachment. I am completely detached from this. What does that feeling is like? What is it like? Or for that matter, unconditional love. Many of us may say, oh, I love everybody. Unconditional love is very difficult. Really, the true definition of unconditional love is to love without having any expectation. I think there was a Buddhist monk that says, it's to love someone where the person that you love feel free. All of us love because we expect to get something back. This is the typical way we love. We expect to be loved back. We expect to receive something back. But to love where you don't expect anything back, extremely complicated, extremely advanced. We're going to talk about this. Session 8 is about listening. And this is where we start going into social intelligence, or Daniel Goleman's book. It has to do with the fact that there is a difference between hearing and listening. We all hear, but very few people listen. Listening is like allowing every part of our being to be completely quiet and attentive to everything that's happening in front of us. The very subtle changes in the skin, little sweat, little twitch in the body, the way the lips move, the way the hair tilts slightly, the body gesture. Aside from this, but the feeling that you're feeling in your body when you're watching the person. How does your body respond? What part of you is pressed? Feel open and wide? What sensation are you perceiving or you sensing in your body while you're truly listening and engaged with this person? I keep saying all the time that the real gift that I have, the real spiritual gift, if someone were to ask me what's my superpower, it's that I have holographic listening. When I listen completely. And I listen so completely that the moment the person I'm listening to talk to me and I see 3D images, holographic things opens into my head and I see all these images that gives me information in detail. Sometimes the person that's talking to me is actually suppressing something to their own self. And I'm actually seeing the detail of what they're suppressing. So all of us can learn this. This is natural gifts that we have. We're just not paying attention because the amygdala in the middle of my, the limbic system, the middle of my brain, is chatty and it's constantly talking to the amygdala of anybody I'm listening to. I just have now, we just have to have learned the skill set to quiet down so that we are now participating in the conversation that the two amygdalas are sharing. Okay? It's very important skill set in terms of social intelligence. Session 9 is, we're going to jump into social intelligence as far as it concerns family, social, international situation. It's communication without verbal clues, and we're going to get into the detail how the amygdala does it or does not do it, and how an emotional intelligence person can walk into a room and begin to understand the mood in the entire space. If you have that as a skill, it will take you very far. It will, in all walks of life and in all relationships that you have. I have friends of mine who are socially, or highly socially intelligent. And I remember one of my friends, we were driving coming from upstate, and a fleeting thought went to my mind and it changed my mood. I didn't say anything. I was driving. All of a sudden she went, "What's the matter? Are you okay?" I was like, "Okay, stop it. Get out of my head." but this is someone who's so, I mean, really incredibly highly socially intelligent to be able to pick up, it's just a thought. And it veered me off into a different consciousness. She picked it up. She picked it up. So all of us can do this. Session 10 will be about neutrality. And I'm talking about neutrality here because a lot of us live in a polarized world. We believe that everything is light and dark, good versus bad, positive, negative, men, women, etc. But in the universe, there exists a third state. And that third state is neutrality. Because really, even the light versus the dark, if you really are living in the extreme and you identify yourself either as light or dark, you're holding one side of the pendulum swing. Which means what? It means that if you're holding one side of the pendulum swing, equilibrium will never be achieved. The light, in other words, will never vanquish the darkness. There is no exit strategy in this scenario. It will never happen because the pendulum will keep swinging. The battle in the heavens have been waged now for 500 million years. And if it keeps going the way it is, it will continue for another 500 million. It will not cease. However, if you look at nature and you look at an atom, for example, there is a proton that's positively charged and an electron that's negatively charged. There's also a neutron that's zero charge. That neutrality exists. And neutrality is not a disconnect to the injustices of the world. You can still pursue an ascended agenda, a socially correct agenda, but you're not trying to annihilate and destroy the opposite. You're reconciling yourself to the fact that you in the past have harmed and tried to destroy and annihilate the opposite, but you're holding space for the opposite also to come in the middle. It's when you try to destroy the other side that you're so polarized and so fanatical, you become a zealot that you lose all sense of clarity. And therefore you cannot understand what you're doing correctly. So I ask you, I apologize for this. I'm going to try to get out of this one. I thought I'd turn it off. Apologies. So what I'm trying to say is that neutrality is the state that you're in where you are allowing yourself to evolve into a higher state of reconciliation and resolution. We're going to talk into detail and talk about what kind of feeling that this evokes in us when we get to the talking about higher emotion. This is something that most people on the planet don't know, because the entire planet is polarized. We are either light or dark. We're one way or the other. So how do we get ourselves into the state of to comprehend, to begin to understand neutrality? By the way, neutrality is an evolving thing. There is no right or wrong. I have been teaching neutrality to my class now in New York City for 22 months every week. And I'm still going because there are more nuances that we have not mastered. And I'm learning, okay? So I'm just saying to you, I'm just scratching the surface as far as I becoming more neutral. Session 11, our power to empathize and to listen and sensing other human being can be transferred to sensing the natural forces of nature. There's a subtle intelligence that exists. In other words, the same social intelligence skill that we're using to listen to each other, you can listen to animals. You can listen to plants. You can listen to forces of nature. Like there was a hurricane that was coming, Joaquin, very recently around the state. You can actually blend. There's a technique I can teach you where you can learn how to blend and listen to the storm. And you can bring information. You can actually converse with the storm. Not only understand its trajectory, but also let the storm know information about us or in the way. And you can have a conversation. Because these forces of nature are highly emotionally intelligent. They are not, the intellectual linear stuff. This is why most of the time these forces of nature, the storms, they don't know that humanity or human beings are in the way, because we're so in a frontal lobe that they can't see us. The moment we are communicating from an emotional, intelligent place to them, they immediately perceive us. The first storm we did as a group many years ago, when I did that with a group, when we connected the storm was like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know there were people in front of us. And the storm was responding, okay, we will have to get back to you. We will have to come. In some way or another, everyone picked up the same thing, that the storm didn't know, and the storm is saying, I'm going to have to take it to a higher force or higher intelligence. They have to factor the fact there are people on their path. And then the next day when we did it again, all of a sudden there was an understanding from the storm. We are veering toward the water, toward the sea. It's not always, I have seen on Facebook people who have gathered together or trying to control a storm. Okay? Let's send light to push the storm out. This is hubris to the maximum. This is men's ego thinking that they are Merlin the magician. This is insane. A force of nature is something that powerful. You don't control it. You come with humility and you simply communicate and say, this is where I am. This is where we are. Can you factor in the fact that we are on your path? And is there anything that you can do to alleviate the amount of destruction that happens? And then you wait for an answer. You don't go in there trying to charge and telling people what to do or what not to do. This makes no sense. Because these forces are too powerful and you cannot deceive them. Because the moment you blend with them, they read all of your emotions. They know the truth. The final session, which is session 12, we will now connect to the earth, the super consciousness. That is the collective of all of the natural forces of nature that have gathered together in a super consciousness, which we call Gaia or the earth. And we will connect. We will do an actual connection to feel and to know what the planet is feeling currently at the very moment that we're doing this. So we're going to extend we're going to go first from us with a gamut of different emotions. And then from having gone to the gamut of different emotions, we're going to then go to us learning social intelligence, how to communicate, what is the mechanic that's happening in the brain. I'm going to teach you the skill set on how to listen to one person, to listen to each other. We're gonna do experiment where I'm gonna listen to you while I'm watching you on you know, we will feature one person in the screen for 5 minutes, and all the rest of us will basically try to tune in into the sensation and the feeling that this person has, and we'll flip it. We'll do 2 or 3 people like this, and we'll experiment to try to see if we can perceive and sense what's going on, okay? So that we can learn how to listen. Again, as I said, everyone hear, but not everyone listens. Listening is a skill, a very specific skill. It's as if every cell in your body had ears. And you're not just listening with your ear, you're listening with everything. You're in a very passive state, and you're saying every sensation, everything that you feel at that moment relates to the person you're looking at. Because you're completely tuned into their frequency. And when in that state, you learn a lot. Now, and the final phase after we've learned how to do this with each other is to listen to natural forces and ultimately to the earth. In a nutshell, this is the general proposal for the class. I will be showing videos. I will be giving you some PowerPoint presentation. I'm realizing the time, and I don't want to keep you too long, so I'm going to release control and allow you to you can unmute yourself if you want, and begin now to ask questions, make comments, and you know, if you have any, so that I can respond. The class, again, as I said. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you. I need to talk about this very briefly. We have multiple ways in which you can join the class, okay? Yes, Emma, I know you raise your hand. We'll get to you in a second. We have multiple ways in which you can join the class. The first level of commitment on yourself to join the class is what is called the single pass, which is $297. And this is an early bird special, and this ends, let me share the screen with you and show it to you in a second. I'll share that with you very quickly. The first level, which is at $297, the offer is an early bird special. It ends October the 12th, 2015, okay? After that, that level will no longer be available. The Power Pass, which is $591. By the way, at that level, you get also a private Facebook page, and you also get a recording, an audio recording of the session. At the Power Pass level, at $591, you get all of the above: Facebook page, 12 video conferencing access, interactive, and you also get a video recording of the session. Now, at the Deluxe Pass, you get all of the above. The next 2 levels are for individuals who need my assistance. If you are going through very difficult emotions and you can't process it in the time frame allowed by the group, and you need assistance, you need private coaching. This is for people who need private coaching. The Deluxe Pass is, in addition to everything we mentioned above, you will also get 3 15 minutes private breakthrough sessions with me, okay? Where I can begin to help coach you through your feelings. So once a month, once every 4 weeks, we have a session, and I'm able to help you through. The final session, which is the Ultimate Pass, at $2,391, you get 12 private sessions with me. Once a week, we have a private session, okay? If you feel that your emotions are very muddled and you need help, that would be the ideal place for you. Now, I have to tell you that that level is actually a great deal, because for private coaching, anywhere else, a 3-month session will cost you $4,200. So to have not only the group experience where everybody can participate, okay, to have the group experience where everyone can participate, and to also have a private session on a weekly basis at $2,391. It's a deal. It's 50% off. Okay? Any question? Emma, you go ahead. Unmute yourself and go ahead. You're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, Pierre. Hello, everyone. Greetings from South America, from Colombia. Hi. So, Pierre, you know me a lot. Yes, I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 30 years, so I really sometimes feel what my students are feeling. I don't know if it's a good idea for me to join your group or not. I don't know if you need me here or if I need you. So convince me. You know me very well, Pierre. You're a psychic.
Well, Emma, it's up to you to decide, but I think becoming more socially, emotionally intelligent is actually the way we will select which grid we're going to go into. Okay? The filter that will decide where we go, this is emotional intelligence. This is the only reason I'm teaching this class now on this platform is because the Guardian Alliance of Light kept on insisting that the only way for you to select the ascended earth is for you to walk away from the drama and its true emotional intelligence.
All right, you convinced me. There's a lot of drama here in Colombia. And that okay, yeah.
Anybody else has any questions? Just unmute yourself and just pipe up and talk to us. Anyone else has anything they want to say? Well, good. Everybody else, I was able to answer all your questions. Amazing. All right. All right. Since it is now 8 o'clock, I don't want to keep anybody any longer than needed. I want to thank you for your time and your attention. You can go back to the website. I am Monad, and I will I will send it to the chat to everyone. That way, if you're interested in the class, you just have to go to event, and on the event page, you can join. There are buttons and links you can join at the different level. Now, if you're joining at the $2,000 level, I understand, I understand it's a big chunk to pay all up front. We can make a monthly payment arrangement. I can split it into 3 so that you can we can manage the payment, okay? So that you can we can actually work this out. So let me know, you know, reach out through email. Let me know if you have any question, anything I can answer. I will be glad to. Lots of love, everyone. Many blessings to you. Thank you for being on the conference call. Love you, and I hope to see you in class.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.